This is Solo in the Shop. On today's episode, I want to talk about learning from my mistakes. Let's get right into it. Welcome to Solo in the Shop. I'm your host, Ronald Lowe's, and whether you're a weekend warrior crafting for friends and family, or a full-time maker turning your passion into a business, this podcast is for anyone who finds themselves alone in their shop covered in sawdust. Join me as I share my journey from hobbyist to the owner of New England Table Company. Together, let's navigate the joys and challenges of woodworking and entrepreneurship, one project at a time. Hello, friends. The shop is still pretty clean. I've got a lot of tables going on, but I actually talked to a customer today who I originally started working with back, I think, in April, and it took a while, and she and her husband were building a lake house. And if you've ever gone through the build process, you know that the date that they say they'll be done is 2, 3, 4 months before it's actually going to be done. And she came to me probably September, October and said, okay, I'm ready to go. And she placed her order, 3 different tables, which was great. And she was like, the builder says, November, December timeframe. It's now the first week of February, second week of February. And I've been getting her tables finished because she wanted them by the middle of January, end of January. And I hadn't heard anything, and I've got the tables going and they're pretty much ready for finish. And I called her today and I was like, well, I just wanted to check on how the build was going. She said, we're still a few weeks away. So I have a feeling I'm going away for Workbench Con at the end of the month, and I have a feeling that I'll be delivering pretty much the week after that. One of the tables is huge, right? It's 8 feet closed, 10.5 feet open. So it's taking up quite a bit of space. Luckily, it looks really good inside my house. So it's living there for right now. But otherwise, I've got another walnut live edge table going on. I've got spalted maple live edge table coming right after that. So there's no shortage of work. I've got a couple coffee tables going on. And so the orders are coming in slowly. I'm really grateful to have the furniture company who will take work kind of as spec tables so I can just make things and invoice them. So that's working out really well for me. But, it's been a little over a year and a half of being in business. And I thought this would be a good time to talk about mistakes that I've made along the way. Hopefully, if you are thinking about starting a woodworking business, you can learn from some of my mistakes. And I have 5 good ones. I probably could do a 6-month series on the mistakes that I've made going along, but I don't want to get into like little woodshop mistakes, problems with, using the wrong tool or using wet wood or mixing epoxy wrong, God forbid, what a mess. But more fundamental, building your business type issues that I've had along the way. And I have my notes here. I just got to get my phone to come back open again. The first is an interesting thing. The first was the name of the company. And obviously, people have different reasons for picking the names that they choose. And I had what I thought was a pretty compelling reason for my original company name, which was Handmade by Ronald Lowe's. And I had for a very long time, probably 30 years, always imagined that I would at some point start a company and I would get my name into the company name so that I would start getting recognized and have a reputation and be the face of the company. And my name is not spelled very normal. It's normal in Germany, but Lohse is not a common American last name. It sounds just like Lowe's, the hardware store, but it was this mission I had to get some name recognition, get recognized, and build the company around that. And obviously I wanted handmade in there because that's what I was doing. I was making tables by hand. I wasn't mass producing. I was using power tools, but I was still, it wasn't just throwing things on a CNC. The closest I got to that was the Shaper Origin, and I'm still kind of guiding that by hand. I've got to do the drawings and get that going. So I felt confident. Handmade, Ronald Lowe's, that all worked great. The problem is that there's nothing in the name, I'll call it SEO value, but there was nothing in the name that told people what I was hand making. So I got requests for, I admit I did myself a disservice by trying to get my name out there by going to craft fairs and doing, what every woodworker does and putting out cutting boards and coasters and picture frames and stuff like that. And that was not helping me because I had already made the decision that I wanted to focus on making tables. And having the company name not convey what I was making, what I wanted to do, what my product was working against me, and I didn't even know it. Now, I did get some business. It starts friends and family, and word gets around, and, social media was working. But about, I don't know, almost 9 months ago or so, I made the decision to change names to New England Table Company. And that opened up a lot of doors. It got me a lot more attention and a lot more SEO value. I'm getting a lot more web traffic, and I'm getting more inquiries because it's clear what it is that I'm making and what I'm offering people. It's huge to be able to have people getting online and searching for tables and coming up just because tables is all over the name of the company and the name of the website and all the headings and things like that. So having the right company name, I feel, was my first improvement over that first mistake. So that's number one, is choose your company name well. It should be something that's clear. It should be short. It should be something that works with social media. And if at all possible, it should mean something. Now, there's plenty of people who have ideas for company names and, they're like, oh, I want it to be TriStar because, my favorite memory is looking up in the sky and seeing the belt of Orion and blah, blah, blah. But that's not going to necessarily mean anything to your customers. And I guess that's the whole point of the company name, is it needs to make sense to your customers. So that's the first one. The second one is that I started my business in my wood shop that was upstairs. And when I was making cutting boards and coasters, that was great. When I was making 200 and 300 pound dining tables, not so great, because at some point, all that wood needs to come back down the stairs. And I don't have a freight elevator in my wood shop. So I've taken over the garage. That's where I'm standing now, if you're watching this on video. And I miss being able to bring the cars in here, but it certainly makes more sense for running this business to be able to put a whole table together and not have to carry it up and down the stairs. So again, that was another quick realization that I needed to adjust how I was planning to run the business. And so I had to pivot. So as you're getting started, give some thought to what you're building, what you're going to do for dust collection, and how much space you need, and how many different configurations do you need, right? I frequently get asked if I can make chairs, if I can make cabinets and stuff like that. And sure, I could, but I have a small shop and I don't want to have to reconfigure my shop for each product. The tools and jigs and things that you need to make a chair are very different than what I need to flatten a slab and, you know, cut long, rip 8-foot long slabs down, you know, one side and glue them up. And it's just very different than what I would need to make chairs. So give some thought to the environment that you need and plan accordingly. So the next one, the third one, is one that I still struggle with, unfortunately, but now I'm at least aware that it's an issue. And that's not shopping around for good prices for my raw materials. I have a hardwood supplier that's about 8 miles away, and I love that place. It is a candy store, but they do not have the lowest prices. They don't have the biggest selection of the things that I need for making tables. So I frequently have to travel a bit to go find what I'm looking for. And there are plenty of times where I've been, you know, I need to make a 9-foot long table out of 2 walnut slabs. And there's only so many choices, especially, you know, New Hampshire, Massachusetts area. And I end up paying way more than I planned. And that cuts into the bottom line. And it is a struggle. I am trying to work out some deals with some hardwood mills in Pennsylvania or Indiana and try and arrange for some discounts if I can buy in bulk. But even buying in bulk, it just takes so much money. It's an investment. And I kind of build as I go, so I can't say, I know that I'm going to need this kind of slab or, you know, some curly maple or whatever, because that's spending money hoping that somebody comes around and orders that. Now, walnut's probably a pretty safe bet for me because I just do a ton of it, but it's a big investment to order a whole lot of wood. And I really need to work within the whole plan that I had, which was people are going to make a deposit and I'm going to use that deposit to buy their wood. And I need to make sure that I can actually get the wood for the price of that deposit. So that's a struggle. It's an ongoing thing. And as you are thinking about getting going, think about shopping around a bit to make sure that you kind of start out lowering those material costs as much as possible. You know, it's a challenge, and I haven't sorted that completely out, but that's, you know, that's the woodworker's dilemma, is the slim margins all stem from the high cost of good quality wood. The next thing, the fourth thing that I wanted to mention was I spent about a year ignoring Facebook Marketplace. And then I spent about 6 months where all of my business came from Facebook Marketplace. And it's a delicate thing. There's a lot of bait and switch possibility where if you say, I make dining tables, you can't say I make it for $10. You can't say you make it for $1,000 if you can't really make it for that. Make sure that whatever pictures you have are great quality, but make sure that the pricing that you're showing correlates to the images that you're showing. Now you can say, this is the price for a table that's this size. Other sizes are available, and the final price is dependent on the dimensions of the table. People understand that, and I've done a ton of business with that. What they don't like is if you say, I can make a table for $1,000 when really you can't make it for less than $2,500. And the picture that you're showing is an 8-foot table, and the $2,500 table might be 5 feet long. So it's a delicate balance. Can you get away with it? Sure. Are you going to get maybe some negative reviews if your pictures and your prices don't coordinate? Yeah, that's a risk. And your reputation is pretty important. And if you put a higher price and somebody's still interested, that's a better qualified sales lead anyway. So That's my recommendation. But you should have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Facebook Marketplace ads out there, showing what you make in different configurations. And those are free. That's what's so great about it. Is now you can't put Facebook Marketplace listings under your business, but you can put it under your individual account. And then during the discussion, say, yeah, I own this company, or I have this home-based business, and this is what I do part-time or full-time, whatever your situation is. Use the personal account, but then introduce them to your business. And it's a great conversation starter, and I've had a lot of success with it. And I kind of wish I had gotten on that runaway train of Facebook Marketplace earlier. The fifth and last thing that I'll mention is going it alone. And I am definitely guilty of thinking that I could build a great product. I'm pretty good on the website programming. I was like, well, I'm going to do a website. I'm going to do some social media, and I'll do some Google ads, and this is just going to take off. And I wish I had gotten more help all along the way. I've talked in other podcasts about SCORE, which is through the Small Business Administration. It's free. And if you sign up for anything, one, you can get personal one-on-one, two-on-one mentoring through Zoom calls with retired executives who have maybe not been in your industry, but maybe know a lot about small business, and also know who else you could talk to if there are specific things, whether it's around taxes, accounting, systems, online sales, in-person sales, credit card processing, banking, all these things that we have to think about for running a business. They know all those people and can point you to someone who will, again, for free, help you get your business on track. So using SCORE was a huge help, and I definitely recommend that. Where I went wrong is after I did my initial SCORE volunteer mentoring program, I kind of stopped, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep going with this. But your business grows, your business changes. And eventually I reconnected with SCORE, and I started going to a lot of their virtual seminars. They seem to have one every week and different topics. And you get not only good advice, but you also get exposure to other small business owners, and you are seen, you can ask questions, and people get to know you as well. So it's a networking event at the same time, which you can't go wrong with that. The other kind of mentoring thing that I wish I had done earlier is, a lot of you know that I'm doing Paul Mensel's Handcrafted Success woodworking group, and it's low money, and it's the same kind of thing, right? Is I'm getting great advice from someone who's done the journey that I'm on, and the other members in this group are also on the same journey. And some, we just got somebody who's setting up a metal shop and going to be making metal table legs. Well, yeah, I'd love to connect with somebody like that. There's people who are making very high-end tables who are charging, $10, $15, $20,000 for their tables. Well, I want to know how to get to that stratospheric level, right? I would love to make one table, and that's my monthly income for the whole month, one project, 1 month. But all this to say, great connections, great education, and great potential for helping you run your business. So just to summarize, the things that I made mistakes on were not giving full consideration to what the right name for the company would be, starting building upstairs in an environment that wasn't ideal for what I was making, then not shopping around for discounted or more affordable raw materials to get my initial costs down, because every dollar that I save there goes right to the bottom line. Ignoring Facebook Marketplace, big mistake. And then going it alone, not getting enough, especially free or low cost mentoring. Learn from others constantly. Be a voracious learner, and there is reward to be had. That's what I have for you this week. I look forward to talking to you all again soon. Thank you. A couple things before I get back to work. First, if you aren't already following this podcast, what are you doing? Hit follow so you don't miss a single episode. And then secondly, as a favor to me, could you leave a rating or a review wherever you listen? And be sure to share this show with any of your friends that need to tune in. As always, I'd love to hear from you at solointheshop@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you again soon.